I'm a documentary filmmaker who came from Delhi. We know this somebody also is not from one of the Mumbai families, complete outsiders. So in that sense, what is common between the two of us is that we are the outsiders in this industry. I still feel like an outsider. I've made 5 films now, but somehow I still feel like I'm observing the whole sort of everything, all the proceedings from a distance. Do you also sometimes feel like that?
No, all the time. All the time. That's one of the reasons I, don't go to many parties or functions or anywhere, because I feel very much an outsider, which is a great feeling, by the way. It's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with that.
No, I'm not comfortable. I'm very happy with that. I'm really very happy with that. I would hate to be the insider, because there are a couple of things here that it, first of all, gives us a viewpoint. Secondly, I think it makes us grateful in the right sense of the word, and that makes us as arrogant as not you, but I am. But it makes me grateful at the same time, because it's an interesting combination of arrogance and gratefulness, because I'm an outsider. I come from a little small house in Kashmir, so that helps.
See, I was from Delhi. I was doing documentaries in Delhi, and I was doing a lot of work in Afghanistan post 9/11. But I was getting frustrated as a documentary filmmaker because I was not finding an audience. There was a very dwindling space for documentaries in India. I started, fortunately, getting commissions from international channels, so some of my documentaries being shown on channels abroad. But as a communicator, I was not meeting that audience. And that was my urge to start then. I realized I think the most powerful medium in this country is mainstream cinema. And if we want to tell a story, want to throw it out into the open, I guess mainstream cinema is the platform, and that's how I started making my moves. Aapki kya kahani?
I've made one documentary, right? That's a very interesting story, actually. I've just made one in my life. And that one I made because when I came to Bombay, I had no money. And the films division said they'll give me $5,000 to make a documentary. I just won the national award. So I made this film called An Encounter with Faces. And I had 4,000 feet of black and white film. And I had 6 days. And I had these kids who I had to film. So what I did was actually I never switched on the camera. I waited for that moment. When I thought I was going to get the moment, I used to switch on the camera. To cut a long story short, that film was nominated for an Oscar. I was sitting in the Oscar, I was very young, I was hardly 22, 21, and I was 100 times more arrogant then than I am now. So I sat there, and the guy who won, I was so sure I'm going to win the Oscar. I prepared my speech to thank the Academy and, to talk about destitute children. And I was very sure, because the guy who came to receive me in the little hotel I was in, I had no money, so I went into a motel. So the guy from Academy in the limo came to pick me up from the motel. So I opened the door, I was in my shorts. He said, Mr. Chopra, he said. I said, yes. Could I speak to him, please? I said, sure. Yes. So he's looking around for Mr. Chopra. And then he looked at me and he said, you are Mr. Chopra? I said, yeah. And he was with an absolute hello, Mr. Chopra. And the moment he realized, and he said, how old are you, fucker? I said, 21. But they never gave me another documentary to make. Because the films division, when they looked at that documentary, they said, this is so bad that we cannot show it anywhere. And I asked them why. And they said, because there's no background music, there's no commentary, there's nothing. So I understand how you feel. But for me, the journey from documentary to feature film was not because it was a journey. I just did that because I needed to survive in Bombay. But strangely, now I want to go back to documentaries. I want to do some documentary.
For me, it was while I was doing, especially some of my documentaries in Afghanistan, I started realizing that, and when I decided that I want to move towards the large screen, there were things happening with me and my friend Rajan Kapoor, who's sitting here. The two of us making these documentaries in Afghanistan, and I said, what's happening with us behind the screen, behind the camera, is an interesting story, and we started putting that down. And actually, Kabul Express, in that sense, is a little autobiographical story. We still haven't figured out whether I'm John or he's John. But basically, what John and Arshad were doing was roughly what Rajan and I were doing. So I penned this down because I thought will be, in a certain sense, the easiest script for me to write. Try and push it. Of course, Kabul Express today would be described as a multiplex film, but in those days there were no multiplexes. And I came with that script to Bombay. It was quite a journey trying to just meet people. I remember, and Vicky frames is very important in that journey, because I think I came for 2 Vicky frames with my script in my bag. कि कोई Vidhu Chopra मिल जाए या कोई मिल जाए उनको दे दो. It's not easy. It is not easy. Access, I don't know whether it's become easier since, but I was a complete outsider, and to meet people was quite a difficult journey. The only remote connection I had with Bollywood was my wife, Minnie Mathur, had joined MTV. She was an MTV VJ. So obviously there was a bit of an overlap between MTV and Bollywood in terms of interviews. So we started getting numbers, would cold call people, would get to meet a lot of people. सब मुझे लेकिन ये कहते थे किसी को मत बताना तुम documentary filmmaker हो. The D word was a bad word. The moment you tell them you're a documentary filmmaker, वो सोचेगा यार ये बहुत पकाएगा, इसकी कहानी नहीं सुननी है मैं. And that's how the whole process went, and I got a lot of gyan in that process. I remember meeting, I won't take names, but there's this newly formed, newly incorporated company who in the past had sort of backed slightly different cinema. So I went to them and I said that, I have a story, can I narrate a story to you? And the gentleman said that, first tell me, what's your proposal? So I didn't know what that meant. I said, sir, my proposal is that I propose to make a film. So he said, नहीं यार तुम समझे नहीं, मतलब तुम्हारा budget क्या है? What is your recovery plan from the 14 distribution territories? What is all the kind of things that a documentary filmmaker on Delhi would not have the faintest idea about. I'm sitting there thinking that ये सब मुझे करना है, what is this guy going to be doing? Then I said, sir, I have a story, I can narrate it to you. So he said, and I'm not exaggerating, this is no exaggeration. He said that, Monday to Friday we hear proposals, Saturday is the day for stories. So you come on Saturday. So I said, sir, Saturday aata hu. I went back on Saturday. And he heard the story. He heard the story, he seemed to like the story. And he said, there are 2 kinds of films. I said, he said, there is a film called a pre-Friday film and a post-Friday film. So pre-Friday films are films that are sold on the table before the release, and we recover the money that has been spent on the film. And then, what happens to the box office is, not a make or break situation for us. And then there's a post-Friday film where you've released the film and the film has to generate its own momentum and get word of mouth and then makes money through that. So your film is actually a post-Friday film. So I said, sir, let's make a post-Friday film. He said, no, but our company charter is only to make pre-Friday films. So then I said, how do I make my film, pre-Friday? Then I was given the name of a couple of actors, that get these actors, call them actors, kya unke chaukidar se baat nahi hui meri. So that is the way it sort of happened to me. And then of course, the one studio that I did not approach, and because everybody, conventional wisdom said that Yash Raj Studios does not make this kind of cinema, I did not go to. And out of the blue, I get a call from somebody who says that Aditya Chopra wants to meet you. And I thought this is a joke, because firstly at that time, as everybody said, we didn't even know whether Aditya Chopra exists. It's a mythical character created by Mr. Yash Chopra. But I got this call, and I thought, because Minnie was in MTV and there was this show called MTV Bakra that was very popular that our friend Procha used to do. I thought this is a Bakra. All of them knew my struggle at that point in time. And so I said, yeah, sure, and I know. I'm the king of England. But then slowly I realized this is a genuine call, and this seems to be from Yash Raj Films. So they gave me the time and the date, and I went, and still, you know, in some way thinking that as I'm entering the gates of Yash Raj, Brocha will jump out to the camera at the gate, but there was no Brocha. The gate opened, I went in, and went into the room and met the mythical character called Aditya Chopra, and that's how the film began. So in a nutshell, that is the way it happened for you, my first film.
Yeah, no, but in our time it was very different. We had a thing called NFDC, that time it was called FFC, the Film Finance Corporation of India. So most of us, when we came out of the Film Institute, wrote scripts, and they had a script committee that approved those scripts. So my first film, Sazai Maut, we wrote the script, and the script got approved, and they gave us 3 lakhs to make that film. My first film is made in 3 lakhs. My second film, Khamosh, is made in 8 lakhs. My third film, which you would have seen, that most people would have seen, is Parinda, was made in 12 lakhs. Yes, 12 lakhs. 12 lakhs is the loan that NFDC gave me at that time. And the first fight I had on the set was with Nana Patekar, who left my set because I told him he wanted water. I said, "Tu ghar se nahi laya?" Kehta, "Nahi." मैंने कहा, "घर से लेके आ." And he left my set. I had no idea. My then wife Renu Saluja saw him leaving. She followed him and usko mana ke leke aayi. And by the time my shot was ready, he was there. I said, "Okay, Nana, this is." So I didn't even know he had gone and come back. But that is how we made our films. If you see a film called Khamosh, which I think you should see, it's a very nice film. There's a scene, उसमें चिता का सीन है. चिता के सीन के लिए हमने 2 कुल्हाड़ियाँ भाड़े पे ली थी 2 घंटे के लिए. पेड़ काटा, उसका चिता का लकड़ी बनाया, वो लगा के वो शॉट लिया. There is a photo somewhere of me cutting the tree.
And that film you said was 8 lakhs. But that was shot in Kashmir.
In 8 lakhs. How that was done in 8 lakhs? Now you know Kashmir, right? There's a gentleman called Narinder Singh who owned Pahalgam Hotel. So I had no script. So I went to his hotel, I liked the hotel. I said, "Will you let me shoot here?" He says, "कहानी की है." मैं कहा, "तुसी परमिशन दो तो मैं कहानी लिख देना." उसने परमिशन दी. मैंने 1 हफ्ते में कहानी लिख दी. उसके उधर ही रह गए. फिर उसको सुनाई मैंने स्लीप वॉकिंग सीक्वेंस. क्यों? मैंने कहा बड़े अच्छे थे कॉरिडोर बनाए मैं स्लीप वॉकिंग. So that script is written not as a script, it's written because a location was provided to me. And then the crazy thing is, that time Nasiruddin Shah, Shabana Azmi, Amol Palekar, they all agreed to be in the movie for no money. There was no money. If you made money, you give them money, otherwise there's no money. So he kept asking me, "अच्छा ते Shabana ji केड़े स्वीट इच रहेंगी?" मैं क्या यार इस पास से कुड़ियाँ रहेंगी, इस पास से बंदे रहेंगे. He thought I was joking. Then he asked Shabana, I put her online. So Shabana said, "Yes, we'll live like that. 4 girls and So that is how we made our films. It was crazy, it is completely mad. We had no money. Let me also tell you of a great man, Mangesh Desai, who was the sound man, was some Dolby guy here, so I remember. I haven't paid for the mixing of my films. Mr. Feroz Khan, God bless his soul, has paid for my mixing. Because all the big producers, he was making a film then, he had booked the Raj Kamal studio from 7 to 7. He never came at 7, he came at 10. So we used to go at 7. Mangesh Desai used to mix our film till 9:30. There was a guy waiting at Dadar who used to call. That time there were no mobile phones. जैसे फिरोज खान की गाड़ी निकलती थी, वो वहाँ उड़ीपी से फोन करता था, "सर निकल गए." वो फट से चेंज करता था रील निकाल के फिरोज खान. So you had this mythical guy, I had no mythical guy, we had nobody. There was no other way. Khamosh, when it was made, and this is a story that you should know, for 2 years, everybody saw that film, including Yash Chopra, who sent me flowers. He never bought the film. No, nobody bought it. Yash, this is something, why do I help? How did Raju Irani come into my life? I don't want to be a producer. I'm not a producer. I hate producing films. Why did I do it? Because when I made Khamosh, I had 8 lakh ka loan. Now the loan is, unless you pay back the money, you can't get the next loan. Okay? That is the bottom line. You have to pay. That means घर बेचो. अच्छा हमारा घर भी नहीं था, हम तो पीजी में रहते थे, कुछ भी नहीं था, तो 8 लाख रुपए लग गए. यश जौहर एक उस वक्त बहुत बड़े डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर थे, गुलशन राय. Have you heard his name? His son Rajiv Rai made films. One day we got flowers at home, and it said from Gulshan Rai and Rajiv Rai. Great film, Khamosh. So we went, Ram kharidi, apni life ban gayi. Renu was my wife then, threw a party. सब ये जितने अपने आर्ट फिल्म मेकर टाइप कुंदन झा ये सब दारू वारू पी रहे, पिक्चर बिक गई, गुलशन राय ने खरीदी. अब साला फोन ही नहीं आ रहा. अब हम लोग 2 ही लोग थे पीजी में, बाथरूम नहीं जाते, एक बैठा है कभी फोन आ जाए यार. 3 दिन तक फोन नहीं आया. फिर परेशान होकर मैंने फोन किया, अपॉइंटमेंट सीख किया, बुलाया गया हमको. हम गए, नाज बिल्डिंग में उनका ऑफिस था. नहीं, नाज में नहीं है, वो इंतार ले, बॉम्बे सेंटर ऑफ फिल्म. सो आई गो देयर, बुलाया अंदर. It's a big office, big table. I can never forget. He was a bald man. So I sat and he was sitting. हाँ जी बोलो. मैं क्या सर तुसी फूल भेजे. अब सोच रहे मैं फूल भेजे. मैं कहता मैं खामोश पिक्चर राइटर प्रोड्यूसर डायरेक्टर खामोश. हाँ फूल भेजे. हाँ थोड़ी चंगी पिक्चर है मैं यार. फूल मैं नहीं भेजे. He picked up the phone और अजीब और तुझे कि विनोद चोपड़ा को फूल भेजे. हाँ जी भेजे. ओ जी राजीव ने भेजे फूल कौन. अब मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि खरीदेगा कि नहीं खरीदेगा. तो वो राजीव का खबर था, उठा मैं क्या राजीव राय. Very nice man. He spoke with an American accent. Praised the film. And me and Renu were there, so I said, yeah, so you'll release it? कहता no, that my father does. So I said, you love this movie. You sent me flowers, but you will not release it. And you're the biggest distributor. He said, no, that my father does. Then I did something that I was well known for. I used terrible Kashmiri language and Punjabi kalis, and my wife had to carry me out. I just lost it. Completely. It was crazy, but I just couldn't believe this. And then I did something that was totally mad. I took that film to various cinemas. Regal Cinema was owned by a guy called Manik Sidhwa. He was a Parsi. He loved the film. You know who released Khamosh? I. Myself. I had nothing. You guys should know this. I took that cinema hall for 2 weeks. He gave it to me at 50-50, 60-40. So he said, it's a damn good film. Even if it doesn't make money, I will give you 2 weeks. He was a Parsi. So he took 50%, and if the film would make money, I would get 50%. And there were 3 shows, 3, 6 and 9. Now there were hoarding नहीं हो, सिनेमा के बाहर बोलता है. उसने कहा मुझे एक ही चीज़ है, my cinema is reputed cinema. At least put a hoarding outside cinema. So I told him, will you pay so that, you know, out of your 50, you take it? No, we never pay. Mr. Chopra, I will not pay for it. What do I do? So we go to Dadar, Beg, Yevo. Literally got the hoardings. The hoardings were put there, and you know who did the lighting? Vinod Pradhan, my cameraman. We were lighting the hoarding. We painted it, took it in a tempo at night. Whole night I have personally stuck that hoarding in Regal. Next day, 3 o'clock, there was me, Renu Saluja, Vinod Pradhan, and 5 other guys in balcony. And niche ko 10-20 log hain, khali cinema. 3 o'clock show. So I'm in full panic mode, and I'm making my notes. Ye kaat do, ye kaat do, ye kaat do. That time there was only one print. It's not like you guys digital. There was one print. So I told Renu, I said, cut the scene after the show. She said, I won't touch it till at least 3 shows are done. I started screaming. I said, you can't, I'm the producer, you know, I have the right. And it's rubbish, this film is not working, it's too slow. We have to cut the sleepwalking, we have to do this. And I'm screaming. And she, Vinod Pradhan, took her to a cafeteria. Regal mein, un dinon niche cafeteria tha. I wonder if it's still there. And I went to the loo. Now this is education for you. I'm in the loo, taking a leak. There are those, out of those 5 guys, 3-4 guys were there. So एक मेरे को बोलता है, I'm taking a leak. तू बनाया क्या picture? तू बनाया क्या picture? I don't want to answer. I'm quiet. हाँ तो काय को टेंशन लेता है? तेरा नाइट शो फुल है. टेंशन मत ले, अच्छा बना. नाइट शो फुल है. He said it and he left. I couldn't follow him. I had to finish my leak. I went and washed hands, and I'm looking for the guy. He's nowhere. And I told Vinod Pradhan, I said, "One guy told me." 6 o'clock show के time में 9 o'clock show full के board लग गए. And that bugger was there. You know, it's not over yet. I have to tell you the main thing. At 6 o'clock the board was on. 9 o'clock that guy with those other 5 guys was out there. 30 ka 40, 30 ka 40, 30 ka 40. So he bought the whole show. And the film ran there instead of 2 weeks for 6 weeks, courtesy Manik Sidhpal. And while the film was running, I was selling Delhi, UP, CPCI, Punjab. So I come from a school where we state everything. Everything. Just to make something you believe in. So, as much as I sympathize with you,
You know, honestly, I had no problems releasing the film. All my problems were while making the film because I was shooting in Kabul. So my trials and tribulations took place with the Taliban. But when you hear this, you know, after you make the film, at least in my case, you know, we got death threats from the Taliban, and we stopped shooting. There were suicide bombings happening in Kabul, and all kinds of things took place. But finally, we managed to, you know, finish the film with the help of the Afghan authorities and the security they gave us. But once the film was made, today it pretty much, you know it's going to get released. I think this was a completely different time.
And they loved it. They sent me flowers, but they won't release. So look at that. And that is why, as a policy all my life, it's any work I love, anything I really like from any young director, I will go out and support it.
But you know, this is true because this is something that I noticed even when I was speaking to producers for the story of Kabul Express. I could make out that they're liking the story. They're genuinely excited about the story, but something would hold them back from putting their money where their mouth was.
By the way, why you never came to me?
Sir, आप मिले ही नहीं, आप आते नहीं, आपने कुछ बोला नहीं. मैं तो फिक्की फ्रेंड्स आया, आप आए नहीं. So, but it's really important at that point in time, and that's why after I made Kabul Express, when I got into a bit of a situation where I could help people, I really, you know, always used to keep my doors open. I always say कि किसी को भी बनानी होगी फिल्म या स्क्रिप्ट होगी, मैं सुनूंगा. But there is a problem there also, which you need to probably organize properly. After some point, you realize that then that becomes your entire work. Then you will not be able to make films yourself. You'll have to just sit there, listen to scripts, listen to, you know, new filmmakers. And that is something seriously lacking. You know, I've spent time with Yash Raj Films. I've done a film with Eros. I've, you know, done a film with UTV. That is something that I feel, and one of your new endeavors is there's no organized way where newcomers with ideas, film writers can approach directors and producers, get a hearing. I'm really happy that Ficky Frames has started this picture story session where, you know, we've been sitting there for 3 days hearing stories from story writers. But there needs to be a more organized effort where writers can approach established producers like you, directors like you, and be able to pitch a story, and some sort of a, you know, system through which that can be processed. Because right now it's in fits and starts.
No, I agree. I'm actually in the process of making a foundation, which I mentioned to you in London, in right there in Pali Hill, behind my house. Instead of making a bigger house for myself, I'm breaking it into what is called a kund. So there's going to be a pond, there's going to be a film library, there's going to be a cafeteria, there's going to be an art library, and there's going to be a cinema hall hanging on top. So it's going to be like a center, like a meditative cinema center. And then hopefully once we are there, then we will have a thing where You know, you get scripts, you have people from all over. See, I'll tell you the trouble I have is I met some kids from some university just now and they said, come and do that. And I said, I want to know who has made this university. And they wondered why. I said, because there are two kinds of reasons to get into education. One is to educate, one is to make money. Unfortunately now, education has become business.
It's a commodity.
Yeah, it's a huge business. So somehow if we can make this foundation and do something like getting the scripts from here and there, and it's not going to be easy, but I think it's not impossible. It's far easier than releasing Khamosh and Reels.
And only help us actually, a lot of first-time filmmakers and writers approach us and, they're trying to make this film and they really want their story out. But what they don't realize is, every director and producer is also dying to get a new story. My dream is that I get a script on my table, I read it and say, this is what I want to make. But it doesn't happen, so you end up writing your own stories. But honestly, I think every director and producer in this city is desperately looking for that one script that they can get, which they really believe in and they can then make. So I think if that process gets smoothened out, where those new stories can reach directors and producers, there will be nothing like it. I think our film industry will get enriched.
Let me tell you another thing, which is again going to be educative. When we made Munna Bhai MBBS, of course I wrote that script with Raju, but it was unusual. The film was ready, wasn't sold. I showed the film, including to UTV, and Ronnie had just made a lot of money from Mission Kashmir. They saw the release print. Nobody bought that film. Munna Bhai MBBS. The joke is, there's a guy called Mohammed Bhai who had paid 11 lakhs for Tamil Nadu. Okay, had made a deal, paid us 5 lakhs, he made money from our previous films. He saw the film, he went to my office, spoke to my production guy, says, nahi lena, nahi, bilkul nahi chalega. So, my guy Anil Davda called me, I said, yaar, usko 5 mein de de, usko bol, paise banenge to de de. That guy tells him, ke 5 to sir, P&A bhi niklega. So I returned his money. And because there was no distributor, I released the film again, because from Khamosh I had learned, because if I believe in it, I will go all the way for it. Sometimes it works, sometimes like Broken Horses that nobody here has seen, because everybody went to see Fast and Furious that released the same day. But I released that film myself, I believe in that film. In Munna Bhai MBBS, I released myself. In Tamil Nadu, I was selling for 11 lakhs. You know how much money I made? Guess.
Munna Bhai sir, must be just all the way to the bank.
From that small sector, I made 1 crore 47 lakhs. So nobody understands, nobody knows anything.
No, but that's
so for the young filmmakers and young writers, what I want to say is, if your script gets rejected by people, remember that Munna Bhai MBBS, not the script, forget the script. They saw the movie. And they said, this language nobody will talk beyond Borivali, kisi ko samajh mein nahi aayegi. That is the fact. It's shocking today, but that's the truth.
Yeah, but that is something that I have noticed. I mean, just the case of Munna Bhai MBBS itself. It's a film which everybody has seen it now. How can there be even an iota of doubt that this film is not going to work? And what makes
Kabir,
so
when
safe?
the movie released, Sanjay Dutt's best friend called from Pune, owns this in, what do they call, multiplex, says, Sanju, record to diya. He put it on speaker, Raju, record ho gaya, Pune mein record ho gaya. Then that bugger says, 3 log baithe. I was there, I said, tension mat le, sham ko 30 honge, raat ko 300 honge, kal 3000 honge. Raju Hirani was in tears at release. I had given him no money. There was no money. We had lost 4 crore. I gave him 11. I was not rich that time. I said, ये ले, इसको भूल जा, एक और बना दो. ये तो गई. It was Saturday रात को फिर full हुआ. Sunday से फिर वो film चलनी शुरू हुई. And it's Munna Bhai. It's a comedy. That time comedy नहीं चलती. Now everybody says comedy बनाओ. Go back. At MBBS they said ये comedies नहीं चलती. Romantic film चलती, action thriller चलता है. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is if you believe in something, just follow it, just take it, and if you feel down and out, think of Munawai MBBS. Please, it will inspire you.
Because that is something I really feel strongly about. You know, conventional wisdom is what actually really holds us back in our industry. Every time you want to do something different, conventional wisdom will say, but this does not work with this. I'll just tell you the story, what happened with me with Bajrangi Bhaijaan. Now with Bajrangi Bhaijaan, here was Salman Khan, the superstar, doing for 9 years blockbuster action films. One of them was my own Ek Tha Tiger with him. And suddenly, you know, there was a story that came up where Salman Khan is, वो किसी को पीटेगा नहीं, सिर्फ पिटेगा फिल्म में. Even with, I mean, what would be blasphemy in mainstream Hindi cinema, Pakistani police थप्पड़ मार रही है सलमान खान को, वो जमीन पे गिर रहा है. Conventional wisdom again was of the opinion that how can you know, you can't do this with a Salman Khan image. But we went and did it because Salman also had the courage and the vision that this is something which is correct, this story is speaking to me, let's do it. And it went on to become his biggest film by miles and miles. So I think there's something about conventional wisdom which is good, should be there, but I also have always felt that it really holds us back.
You know, I mentioned this to you, and this I want to tell, I want to address everybody directly. When I was coming here, I said to myself, why the hell am I driving to Powai? What's the new thing? Okay, I met him in London, that's how I said, okay, I'll do it. I really liked him, that was the first time I met him. This is, by the way, the second time I'm meeting him.
This is our second conversation ever.
I've never met this guy. Once, and I really liked him. I said, yaar chalo. Ab main aa raha tha, maine kaha, yaar main kyun ja raha hu? And, you know, Kapil and sort of people who are here know how lazy I am. I said, yaar, mujhe kahan jana? जब मैं चल रहा था, रास्ते में मैंने बोर्ड देखा. नाइकी का बोर्ड है, आप लोगों ने देखा होगा, उसमें लिखा हुआ है चेज ग्रेटनेस. और बहुत लोगों को बोर्ड बड़ा अच्छा लगता है. The reason is, how I noticed this, because my son plays cricket, and my wife told him, look at that. And I looked at it, and I found that something was wrong with it. And I mentioned to Kapil Pandit, who was with me in my car, I said, now I know what one thing that I want to say in Fiki. And that one thing is, don't chase greatness. Then, what do you chase? You chase excellence. And what is the difference between excellence and greatness? Let me tell you. Excellence is something that you chase, it's something within you. You set goals. And you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do Couple Express, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. And you make your own goals. You know what you're capable of, and you push yourself beyond your own capability. Greatness has less to do with your chasing excellence. It has more to do with other people acknowledging and saying, "Ye to great hai." A lot of people who you believe are great, because we are trained to say these are great people, are probably not great people at all. So the trick is to actually chase excellence, which will lead, as we said in 3 years, chase excellence, success will follow. Greatness will follow. But don't chase greatness. There's a little shift here. You chase excellence and it will lead to greatness. But if you chase greatness, then I will see, अच्छा मैं तेरे से बात कर रहा हूँ, मेरा एंगल ठीक है, मेरा शॉट ठीक आ गया, मेरी ताली ठीक बजी, अच्छा मैं तो ग्रेट हो गया यार आज. So that is one point I want to make here to all filmmakers who are all people, creative people who are struggling constantly with what we are doing. For God's sake, don't chase greatness, chase excellence.
I'm not sure how much time we have for the session, but I think we should open it up. If there are any questions, then we will be more than happy to answer them to either one of us. Do we have a mic for the... Any questions? Ji sir.
हेलो सर, आपने मूवीज बनानी छोड़ क्यों दी?
सर, अगर मैं आपको सच जवाब दूं, तो मैं थोड़ा हिंदी सिनेमा से बोर हो गया. अनफॉर्चुनेटली मैंने एक फिल्म बनाई, अच्छी फिल्म थी, ब्रोकन हॉर्सेस हॉलीवुड में, वो चली नहीं. तो ना मैं उधर करा ना इधर करा. अब मैं एक फिल्म बना रहा हूँ, आई एम डायरेक्टिंग इट. after a long time. I'm writing it. I have not talked about that film to anybody. But since you asked me, let me tell you that this winter I will direct a film. It is a film that I'm hoping I will direct, let me put it that way. It's based on the Pandit Exodus. I've been working on that script for 5 years. And finally it's come to a place where I think it should be made. So, inshallah, as I say in Kashmir, I will direct this film this winter. But thank you for asking me that. I am also not happy that I haven't directed in India for a long time, but I did direct a Hollywood film just 2 years back.
Ji, that gentleman there.
Vidiji, I just want to tell you that Khamoshi has been my best film that I've seen ever, and it's a big round of applause for Vidiji. Everybody should see that film, and a lot of people have not seen that film. If you ask me, a lot of people have not seen it. Why don't you re-release that film?
You know, I am, like I said, since I am so into my own world of writing and creating, I'm not good with all these things, but there's a gentleman traveler sitting here, Karl Saurabh, who's with us now. He's thinking of re-releasing it. I would like to do that actually.
Ji, yeah, that's it.
Hello, Mr. Vinodji, I got the opportunity to interview once and we did a video interview, I hope you remember, for Wazir, and you explained to me the Parinda sequence that you had done long back and how you did it with the handkerchief. If you could just explain to the whole audience, how was that with Nana Patekar and how did you go taking the pigeons and the whole view when VFX is not there now and back then how difficult? I still remember the sequence, you explained it to me personally, but if you could just tell the audience.
Yeah, to Kabir I should tell it. You know, there's a shot in Parinda, of course there are many shots, of the pigeons flying. And of course, the only way we could make the pigeons fly was we were using, you know, literally kind of a fake gunfire. But there was one trouble. In one shot, my camera was in a room, Jackie Shroff was saying something. There was a track-in onto Jagu, and there was a sunset. And then at that time there were no dollies, but there was a little crane we had, and the camera went up like that, and down there the pigeons had to fly. And there was no way to manage that. So the crazy thing was that I had one hanky behind the camera. The guy down couldn't see me. Bang opposite, there was a guy with another hanky on the other building terrace. Who waved it, and this guy couldn't see him. So there was a third guy with another hanky, and this guy saw that hanky and poured out the pataka for pigeons to fly. So as a director, I had to time it. I'm moving, and I had to time that I'm going to make this moment, that guy is going to make this moment, this guy to make this moment, and the camera has to come to the right place, and the pigeons fly. You see that shot? It's yeah. Thank you for reminding me. It's for young people. Now they have these walkie-talkies. Yeah, pigeons. And pigeons fly. You know? Yeah. But it was fun. I mean, this is fun too. But that was crazy, completely madness. You know, I had no permission to shoot in Gateway of India for Parinda. Have you seen Parinda?
Of course.
I had no permission. For 3 years, every New Year, we used to go there with hidden cameras.
3 years?
3 years. It is 3 year shoot. Before the film started, I shot. While the film was being shot, I shot. And just before release, I shot. It's a 3 year coverage. And the craziest thing is, I had this mad shot in my mind that the gunshot will play, Jackie will scream, and the crowd will, the cry of anguish of Jackie will be the cry of anguish of crowd. So I wanted the crowd to move. Ah! How do you do it? Today you can do it in VFX. Nana Patekar, who that time nobody knew, was down there. We broke the lock. I hope they don't arrest me for it off the gateway because we had no money. Me and Vinod Pradhan climbed those steps. I still remember the pigeons hitting us because it was pitch dark. Midnight we walked up. We hung the camera there and it was full of people. And then the famous hanky. And there was one cop who was drunk on duty. And Nana Patekar and that cop, he did lathi charge. And because of that lathi charge, people ran. Oh, and I got that shot.
Wow.
sir, my name is Yog. I want to ask both of you, how do you keep reinventing yourself as a filmmaker over such a long period of time?
Never thought of it. I don't know. I just react to stories. What I like, I go by gut feel. I react to everything by gut feel. I think I believe that filmmakers make films they like to watch because honestly, I think we are the only people we know intrinsically. You can't make a film saying मैं ये इसके लिए बनाता हूँ, उसके लिए बनाता हूँ. People don't know them. So I just make films that I like to watch, that I get excited by. I have a bit of a tendency to get excited by films that have a bit of a political backdrop to them. So growing up, I would love anything that had a certain real context, whether it's social context, whether it's political context, or even what Mani Ratnam would always have this very strong political context. So when I got an opportunity to make films, I instinctively went towards those films. And even today now, I just get excited by stories that have a larger than life backdrop to it, but then of course in the foreground there's a nice human story to it. So I really, honestly don't really give it a thought whether I want to reinvent myself or change myself. I just, if I like a story, I'll go for it. I won't think, is this a repeat of what I'm doing, or is it something dramatically different that I must do? I will just react to the story.
See, actually it's much easier to do that when you're younger, because when you're a young filmmaker, it's easy, actually, strangely, to do something that's new. It's as you grow, slowly corruption sets into your system. And it's very strange that you'll see that the older you get, the more greedy you get, the more money you need, the bigger car you need. You need a bigger house. So somewhere, I think it's very, very important not to fall into that trap. And the only way to not fall into that trap is not to let the kid in you die. And that's, with me it's very easy, fortunately, because I'm not really a grown-up person in my head. I'm still like, I still fight, I can give galis, I can slap, I can get, So that helps. That mental dwarfness helps me immensely, but you have to be a kid, otherwise you're dead.
Because if that passion goes away, then you won't be able to react. I mean, that the passion still needs to be there. When you're approaching a film, you need to feel as excited about it as your first film. The moment the passion goes away, you get jaded.
And not only for movies, for simple things. I mean, I met Kabir in London, and I really liked him, and I said, I'd like to talk to him. And I'm here to talk to him. I'm not here looking for some investment, some money, some bank, some nothing. I don't give a damn. What has brought me here is his personality. And I'm clear about this. If I met him there, and maybe he would still be a great guy, but if I didn't like him, I'm saying, to hell with it, man. I don't want to spend 1 hour with him on a mic. For what? This is the child in you, who doesn't think of the consequences, who doesn't think, it's a good chance for me. I'll make this movie with Salman Khan or with Shah Rukh Khan. If you can keep that kid alive in you, you will be very happy, and you'll not age.
True. Okay, now the hands are coming up and it's time for the last question. Let's give it to the lady there.
Hi, I'm a producer-director from Pakistan. I just want to ask, what inspired you to make Bajrangi Bhaijaan?
I mean, one simple answer is that I love the story. Secondly, Bajrangi Bhaijaan is, for me, the politics of Bajrangi Bhaijaan are very important. And for Salman, and that's how it all came together. And in fact, I remember having this conversation with Salman where I said, you feel so strongly about, the fact that he feels really strongly about the secular culture of India. He strongly believes that the greatness of India is the syncretic culture of India, which is what I believe also. And the fact that, this borders are artificial. Not only the border between India and Pakistan, the borders within. A lot has been spoken about the India-Pakistan angle of Bajrangi Bhaijaan, but for me, as important in the film was the first half, which spoke about the borders within the communities of India. So that is what excited us, and of course the story. I just instinctively went for the story. I thought it's a great story, it'll be a great entertainer, and we'll be able to bring in all the layers that we put in over there. I believe in mainstream cinema, when you're making a film, it's very important that if an audience wants to just watch the story at face value and be entertained, that should be possible. One should not try and impose and say, I'm making a film with a message. I think it's very pompous for a filmmaker to say that I'm giving out a message. If somebody takes that message, if they get into the layers beneath, even better. I think it will be a more profound experience for them. And I think what worked with Bajrangi Bhaijaan was the fact that people not only enjoyed the entertainment value, but somewhere what we were talking about, the issues, they connected with it and got emotionally carried away.
You know, I was being interviewed by Pakistan TV, and they said, "आपने पीके बनाई, ऐसे आपने चांस कैसे ले लिया इंडिया में ये सब?" To cut a long story short, we are out of time. उसमें था कि सरफराज धोखा नहीं देगा, and I believe that stadiums में लग गए थे banner when Sarfaraz was playing. So they were really raving about the fact कि आपने ऐसा कह दिया सरफराज धोखा नहीं देगा. And the last thing I told them before the show was ending, मैंने कहा भाई साहब ये तो आप छाप रहे हैं कि सरफराज धोखा नहीं देगा, पर ये ज़रूर लिखिएगा कि ये लाइन विधु विनोद चोपड़ा और राजकुमार हिरानी ने लिखी है, क्योंकि पता चले कि यार अभिजात जोशी ने लिखी है, वो लिखी कितने हैं वो भी जरा ध्यान दीजिए. तो anyway, this is just on the side, but we all believe that we are actually one of the things I want to do in the Kashmir film, if I direct, is that really this whole thing that we have done to ourselves on that side of the border and this side of the border, we have to somehow through art, through culture, through affection, through warmth, through reasoning, we have to stop this nonsense.
And one last thing about this is what is important is that we unfortunately perceive each other, India and Pakistan, perceive each other as one amorphous mass. And we hold, for every action that happens from that side, everybody in that country is responsible. From our side, and unfortunately our media is like that, everything is black and white, it's us and them. I hate seeing newscasters saying us and them, they're not supposed to be doing that, they're just supposed to give us the news. So that is the unfortunate part. So when certain incident takes place, a terrorism attack, we tend to hold everybody in that country responsible, and the other way around also. The moment we learn how to figure out that a country is made up of many elements, and there are lunatic elements in both countries, that is when we'll be able to have true friendship. So when a Bajrangi meets a Chand Nawab, there'll always be friendship. The politicians will always be at loggerheads, and we need to be able to put them in separate classifications. I think we are out of time.
Yeah, no, I have to end this with one line that I just quoted again on television, on your Pakistan TV. It's a song from Mission Kashmir. It says, "ये किसने आग डाल दी है नर्म नर्म घास पर, लिखा हुआ है जिंदगी यहाँ हर एक लाश पर, ये तख्त की लड़ाई है, ये कुर्सियों की जंग है, ये बेगुनाह खून भी सियासतों का रंग है, लकीर खींच दी गई दिलों के दरमियान." So this is the bottom line.
Perfect note to end on. Thank you very much.
सुन के सीरियसली
आप बताइए, हमको तो बहुत अच्छा लगा, आप सुन रहे थे, आपको कैसा लगा ये बताइए. बस ठीक है.
कुछ इंसिडेंट, कुछ इवेंट जो आपने एक दो इंसिडेंट बताया, इतना मजा आया, कुछ और भी तो कुछ कहानियाँ होंगी जो आपको अभी भी याद होती हैं. जरूरी नहीं है कि उनके बारे में क्वेश्चन ही किया जाए, जो आप रैंडमली कभी बता पाए हम लोग, जो कोई नहीं जानता.
नहीं, जो हमने बताया वो तो कोई नहीं जानता, जो हम कहानियाँ सुनाई वो आपने रिकॉर्ड नहीं की क्या? हाँ, तो वो सुना दीजिए, उसमें तो बहुत कुछ है.
कन्वर्सेशन में आपने ये बताया कि
बहुत अच्छी फिल्म थी, ज़्यादातर लोगों ने देखी नहीं।
तो सर आपने कहा कि आप आगे इन ऐसी फिल्मों में आप हस्तक्षेप नहीं करेंगे, आगे नहीं बढ़ेंगे या फिर
नहीं नहीं, हमने ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं कहा। हमने कहा बिल्कुल बढ़ेंगी और बनाएंगे वैसी फिल्में। जिन फिल्मों में आपको विश्वास हो, चाहे वो मुन्ना भाई MBBS हो, चाहे ब्रोकन हॉर्स हो, वो हम बनाएंगे, बनाते रहें और बनाते रहेंगे। फिल्म का बिजनेस जो है उससे फिल्म की अच्छाई और बुराई का कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है। अब जैसे पीके हमारी फिल्म सबसे बड़ी हिट हुई है दुनिया में, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि शायद हमारी लगे रहो मुन्ना भाई बेटर थी। अब ये तो नहीं मैं कह सकता हूँ कि दोनों हमारी फिल्में हैं, तो ये कहना बहुत मुश्किल है। अगर हम ये लेके चलें तो एक कमाल के पेंटर हैं वैन गॉग, जिन्होंने दुनिया में इस वक्त उनकी मिलियंस में पेंटिंग बिकती है, लेकिन उनकी लाइफ टाइम में एक पेंटिंग नहीं बिकी। तो क्या वो पेंटिंग बकवास बना रहे थे? नहीं, वो शायद अहेड ऑफ देयर टाइम से, शायद उनका। तो जब आप कुछ भी क्रिएट करते हैं सिनेमा आर्ट फॉर्म, तो आपको ये लेके नहीं चलना चाहिए कि यार ये मैंने 2 रुपये में बनाया, मेरे 5 बने कि नहीं। हम लोग बनिए नहीं हैं, हम लोग फिल्म मेकर हैं। तो हमको सिनेमा वो बनाना चाहिए जिसमें हमको विश्वास हो कि ये सिनेमा सही है। वो चले तो बहुत अच्छा, ना चले तो और भी अच्छा।
इंडस्ट्री में जो भी आपके फ्रेंड्स कलीग्स हैं जो आप बन गए, क्या उनसे आपको पहले प्रॉब्लम थी या उनको आपसे पहले प्रॉब्लम थी, या कितना संघर्ष करना पड़ा आपको अपनी एक लैंग्वेज समझाने हो कि एक आपकी अच्छी फिल्म जो आप सोचते हैं वो वाकई में अच्छी फिल्म है?
देखिए, इसका किसी को कुछ समझाने की ज़रूरत पड़ती नहीं है। आपको मैं उर्दू का शेर सुनाता हूँ, बहुत सिंपल है। कहता है, चलो अच्छा हुआ काम आ गई दीवानगी अपनी, वगरना हम ज़माने भर को समझाने कहाँ जाते। तो क्यों समझाएं? किसी को कुछ समझाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। अपनी दीवानगी में रहिए, जो आपको अच्छा लगता है वो कीजिए।
ऑडियंस चाहती है कि अच्छी कहानियाँ वो भी देखें, क्योंकि उनका पैसा जाता है, आपकी मेहनत जाती है। तो कहीं ना कहीं राइटर्स अपने अपने काम से पूंजी चुराते हैं, वो चाहते हैं कि बिजनेस कैसे बनाया जाए।
देखिए, ऑडियंस क्या चाहती है वो तो बहुत सारे लोग, हम टीवी में ऐड भी देखते हैं, वो ऐसे ऐसे करके लोग वो पान मसाला खाते हैं। वो तो चाहते हैं, वो खाते हैं, पर वो सही है कि गलत है वो तो आपको सोचना पड़ेगा। उसका एडवर्टाइज करना सही है या गलत है वो आपको सोचना पड़ेगा। ऑडियंस क्या चाहती है, अगर आप वो करना चाहते हैं तो मैं आपको ये टीवी कमरा जब आप बंद करेंगे तो मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि ऑडियंस को क्या चाहिए, तो करिए आप वो सब काम। हम नहीं करते, हमको उसमें मज़ा नहीं आता। हम वो करते हैं जिसमें हमको अच्छा लगे, हमने कुछ अच्छा काम किया। ऑडियंस को अच्छा लगे तो हमको बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि हमने अच्छा किया और हमारा काम ऑडियंस को भी अच्छा लगा। पर अगर उनको अच्छा ना भी लगे तो हमको इतना तो सुकून है कि हमने यार अच्छा काम किया था, समझ में नहीं आया, चलो हमारी तरफ से कोई कमी नहीं हुई।
तो उसकी भरपाई आप मतलब उसका सुधार करते हैं अपने अगले प्रोजेक्ट में?
हाँ, अगर कुछ हमको लगे कि यार हम कुछ बराबर नहीं कर पाए इस फिल्म में, या इस, तो हम उसको, देयर इज़ ए कांस्टेंट ग्रोथ। हम कोई ग्रेट तो नहीं है ना, ऐसा ऊपर से कोई फरिश्ते तो नहीं हैं। हमसे गलतियां होती हैं, हमसे गलत फिल्म बनती है, हमसे जो गलती होती है उसको हम सुधारते हैं, कोशिश करते हैं सुधारने की। सुधार पाएँ कि नहीं वो अलग बात है, पर यही तो जद्दोजहद है, यही ज़िंदगी है कि आप कॉन्स्टेंटली ग्रो करिए। नहीं नहीं, कहाँ 24 घंटे फिल्मों के बारे में सोचता हूँ। मैं तो क्रिकेट मैच देखने कल गया था, मैं तो घूमता फिरता हूँ, पढ़ता हूँ, लिखता हूँ, फिल्में देखता हूँ, म्यूज़िक सुनता हूँ, सब कुछ करता हूँ। फिक्की में आता हूँ, आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ। क्या है, सिनेमा इज़ नॉट माई लाइफ, माई लाइफ इज़ मच बिगर देन सिनेमा। सिनेमा इज़ अ पार्ट ऑफ माई लाइफ। आप मेरे से कितनी बातचीत करेंगे भैया, और लोगों का भी इंटरव्यू लीजिए। थैंक यू सो मच। बहुत अच्छी फिल्में बनाएंगे, हम आपको दिखाएंगे।
जी, वो मैं फिर से बोलूँगा। अरे यार, ये बहुत लंबा सवाल पूछ रहे हो, मैं कैसे बताऊँ आपको पूरा वो एक कहानी कैसे आपको सुनाऊँ इस पे। शॉर्ट में सब जानते हैं क्या कहानी है मेरी। मैं दिल्ली से आया था, डॉक्यूमेंट्री फिल्म मेकर हूँ, किसी को जानता नहीं था बॉम्बे में, एक इंसान को नहीं जानता था इस इंडस्ट्री में। तो बस कहानी लिखी अपने डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज़ के बेसिस पे, जो मेरे साथ जो हो रहा था अफ़गानिस्तान में, उसकी कहानी है काबुल एक्सप्रेस। वो स्क्रिप्ट लिखी, लोगों से मिलना शुरू किया, काफ़ी टाइम लगा, 1 साल लगा, और फाइनली आदित्य चोपड़ा जो हैं, यश चोपड़ा के बेटे, और यशराज फिल्म्स के जो हेड हैं अभी, उन्हें मिली वो कहानी और उनके साथ मीटिंग हुई और वहाँ से जर्नी शुरू हुई हमारी।
अगर आपकी फिल्मोग्राफी पे आप हमेशा हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान का टच करते हैं,
जी,
ऐसा क्या रहा है सर जो आप हमेशा दोनों देशों को?
असल में मैं कोशिश ये करता हूँ कि मेरी फिल्मों में एक रियल पॉलिटिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट हो, एक जो भी आजकल के पॉलिटिक्स हैं, वो अनफॉर्चुनेटली आर पॉलिटिक्स टुडे आर डोमिनेटेड बाय इंडिया पाकिस्तान रिलेशनशिप, तो इसलिए काफ़ी मेरी जो 2-3 फिल्में हैं उनमें ये बैकड्रॉप रहा है। लेकिन ऐसा कोई, जैसे मैं कहा, कोई कॉन्शियस डिसीजन मैं नहीं लेता हूँ कि मेरे को इसी पे बनाना है, या जब शुरू किया था काबुल एक्सप्रेस तो मैंने ये नहीं सोचा था कि मैं एक ट्रिलॉजी बनाऊँगा इंडिया पाकिस्तान पे। कुछ कहानियाँ हैं जो मुझे इंटरेस्टिंग लगी और उनका बैकड्रॉप था इंडिया पाकिस्तान, तो मैंने बनाया। लेकिन ये ज़रूरी नहीं कि हर फिल्म मेरी उसी बैकड्रॉप पे होगी।
जो आपकी पहले की डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज है उसमें से आपको लगता है कि ये स्क्रिप्ट है जो बन सकती है?
जी है, मेरी एक फ़िल्म है जिसके बारे में बात कर चुका हूँ, एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री मेरी है फॉरगॉटन आर्मी, वो मैंने बनाई थी, वो बर्मा में शूट करी थी, आज़ाद हिंद फ़ौज के बारे में, नेताजी की जो आज़ाद हिंद फ़ौज है, जिसमें मैं 2 सर्वाइवर्स वेटरन्स को ले गया था। दे वर बोथ 85 years old एंड आई ड्रोव बैक फ्रॉम सिंगापुर टू इंडिया थ्रू मलेशिया, थाईलैंड एंड बर्मा, और उस कहानी को मैं बड़े पर्दे पे उतारना चाहता हूँ।
जैसे कि आपने बताया कि आप वेट करते हैं अच्छी स्क्रिप्ट का, कोई लिख के लेके आए आपको अप्रोच करे, तो कितना आपको लगता है कि अपने बॉलीवुड में कितनी कमी है अच्छे राइटर्स की जो ये कर नहीं पाते?
मुझे लगता है राइटर्स की कमी नहीं है, राइटर्स को अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिलते हैं। राइटर्स आई एम श्योर बहुत सारे होंगे, लेकिन ये है कि अनफॉर्चुनेटली अभी भी राइटिंग पे इतना वेटेज नहीं दिया जा रहा है जितना देना चाहिए। इन टर्म्स ऑफ ऑल्सो द मनी वी पे द राइटर्स, वो मुझे लगता है कि बहुत कम राइटर्स हैं जो जिनको अच्छा पैसा मिलता है। आप 50 करोड़ की फिल्म बना रहे हैं लेकिन आप स्क्रिप्ट पे सिर्फ 25 लाख खर्च रहे हैं, इट जस्ट डजंट मेक सेंस, बिकॉज बैकबोन जो होती है फिल्म की वो होती है स्क्रिप्ट, और स्क्रिप्ट पे हमें इसलिए ज़्यादातर काफ़ी फिल्म मेकर्स जो हैं वो राइटर डायरेक्टर्स बन जाते हैं, क्योंकि मिलती नहीं है कहानियाँ, तो खुद लिखना पड़ता है। मैं जैसे मैंने कहा सेशन में भी कि मेरा सपना है कि मेरे को कोई स्क्रिप्ट मिले, मैं उसे पढूं और मैं बोलूँ मुझे यही बनाना है, लेकिन आज तक कभी हुआ नहीं है, तो खुद स्क्रीन प्ले बैठ के लिखना पड़ता है। 3, 4, 5, 6 महीने आपके उसमें जाते हैं।
क्योंकि अब हम ये एंटिसिपेट कर पाएंगे कि एक टाइगर और बजरंगी भाईजान के बाद तीसरी फिल्म जो होगी वो भी सलमान खान के साथ ही होगी?
जी, सलमान के साथ एक है प्रोजेक्ट जिसको हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। मैं अभी 2 प्रोजेक्ट्स डिस्कस कर रहा हूँ, एक ऋतिक के साथ है और एक सलमान के साथ है। अब उसमें से कौन सी पहले बनेगी दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन कब मेरा स्क्रिप्ट खत्म होगा और कौन सी हम डिसाइड करेंगे। बट ऑब्वियसली सलमान के साथ एक कंफर्टेबल वर्किंग रिलेशनशिप हो गया, 2 सक्सेसफुल फिल्म हम कर चुके हैं, बोथ वेरी कंफर्टेबल वर्किंग विद ईच अदर, तो जाहिर सी बात है एक तीसरी फिल्म होगी, लेकिन वो नेक्स्ट होगी नहीं होगी वो अभी नहीं कह सकते।
अभी सर एक बॉलीवुड में आजकल नया ट्रेंड चल रहा है मूवी रिलीज करने वाली कंट्रोवर्सी करना, ये क्या
किस में ट्रेंड चल रहा है? बॉलीवुड में।
तो इसके बारे में आप क्या करना चाहोगे?
अब वो अननेसेसरी कोई कंट्रोवर्सी क्रिएट कर रहा है तो वो मुझे नहीं मालूम, लेकिन कभी कभी कंट्रोवर्सी अनवांटेड भी होती हैं। जैसे बजरंगी भाईजान पे 6 कोर्ट केसेस हुए थे, वो हमने इनवाइट नहीं किए थे लेकिन वो हो गए थे। विश्व हिंदू परिषद ने इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट में केस कर दिया था हमारे अगेंस्ट बिना फिल्म देखे। अब वो कंट्रोवर्सी हो जाती है तो ये अनवांटेड कंट्रोवर्सी है। अगर कुछ लोग कर रहे हैं मार्केटिंग के लिए तो वो मैं समझता हूँ वो सही तरीका नहीं है मार्केटिंग का, लेकिन फिर आई थिंक एवरीबडी हैज़ टू डू व्हाट दे फील कंफर्टेबल विद। थैंक यू।
For more news and gossip, don't forget to subscribe to Bollywood Helpline.